It appears that Craig Mack had been one step away from finishing Diddy, and as the singer had confessed in his last interview before he died, he had a good reason to do so. Well, Craig had been in the industry long enough and apparently knew something shady, because what else could make him go to such extremes and even confess on camera that he was about to commit a murder? If you're wondering what the rapper could potentially spill about the music mogul, buckle up because I'm going to dive straight into details. Hi everyone and welcome back to Celeb Live Channel. Craig Mack could have become one of the biggest names in the music industry, but despite the promising future, he was quickly forgotten, and it seems like it has something to do with one of the most controversial figures in the hip-hop industry, Diddy. Apparently, the music mogul is responsible for Mack's misfortunes, and as the rapper himself stated, at some point, he was really thinking of getting rid of Puff.
Try to do this to somebody, because it was really in my heart to kill him. You know what I'm saying? I was going to do it.
Well, it's not like Diddy is the most beloved producers in the world, and many of the artists he worked with already accused him of stealing their money. But no one was actually telling the reporters about eliminating him for that. Apparently, Craig Mack didn't want to put up with Diddy's atrocities, and he was tired to have his patience constantly tested, so he was thinking of going to such extremes as taking Diddy's life. According to Craig, Diddy has always been a vile and greedy man and wanted to ride on the backs of talented artists like himself. He even said that Diddy offered him to work on his new album under his label, but he offered the rapper pennies on the dollar for his work.
I said, cool, I gave him my price, and the price was, to me, was low.
Eventually, these two came to an agreement, and Craig believed that everything was settled between them. However, if there is someone in the music industry you should never trust, it's Diddy. Unfortunately, things began to go south for Mack almost immediately after he was only paid a third of his initial price. And apparently, Diddy tried to withhold some of the money that was meant to be paid to Craig, and as soon as the rapper realized that he was basically robbed and scammed, he refused to record any further.
Nothing happened, no money, so I stopped recording.
But Diddy immediately tried to show Mack that no one messes with him and wanted to teach the rapper a valuable lesson by threatening him and forcing to keep making music for free. Well, you all know these allegations about Diddy's ties to criminal gangs, so it's no wonder the music mogul has a lot of influence on celebrities. But what Diddy didn't know is that Craig is not a young and scared boy who is going to dance under Diddy's tune, and he actually was brave to expose Diddy's threats.
Yo, you owe us an album.
As Craig mentioned in his interview, he didn't like the way Diddy was handling the situation, especially considering the initial agreements and the fact that the producer still owed him the rest of the money. But Diddy kept pushing and pushing, and as Matt confessed, at some point, he was about to lose it and do the unthinkable to his greedy producer.
I had a gun in my lap.
And this is not the end of this story, because Craig knew that after threats, Diddy may switch to real menacing actions. So, working for Bad Boy Records became a game of survival for the rapper, and he confessed that he was actually ready to cross the line if his life was in danger. Keeping a weapon close to himself was his chance to protect his life and prevent Diddy from getting rid of such an inconvenient artist.
If somebody's going to be trying to kill me, I'm going to have to do something first.
And while the situation became more and more serious, there was something that saved Diddy and gave him a chance to become better, which, as we know, we never used. Hold on to your sights when I tell you that when Craig Mack had been thinking about shooting his producer, something extraordinary had happened, and it changed the rapper's mind instantly. As Craig himself stated, he heard gospel music on the radio, and he realized that God didn't want him to take another life and commit this sin. Well, it looks like Diddy was one step away of being eliminated himself, but since Craig saw the gospel music as a sign not to dirty his hands with blood, he made a wiser and a healthier decision, and left the sinful life of a celebrity and all Hollywood temptations forever. No one heard about him for 6 years since that episode, and when he was back in the spotlight, it was not to make another album because Craig felt like he was fed with Hollywood lifestyle, and in particular, with his ex-producer Diddy. And although Craig was among the first people to expose Diddy's greed and true nature, it's not like it stopped other artists from working with him and also being deceived, hurt, or even murdered. As one user commented, seems like Diddy is always involved in everything bad that happens with people in Hollywood. And another fan added, everybody associated with Diddy either dies, goes to jail, or has personal tragedy, and except him. His retribution is going to be ugly. And even though Craig couldn't stop Diddy, and I don't mean it in a harmful way, he made a huge step forward toward bringing the music mogul and his disgusting empire down. But it feels like there's no use of reasoning with Diddy because he always has his own truth and never sees any other opinion. Well, Craig was eager to make music, and he went through failed attempts, being a part of some music bands, and it was a brave thing to give it all up after such an unfortunate encounter with Puff. However, it became obvious that the music industry is full of bad vibes, and this was not what Craig wanted to bring into the world. And even though Diddy was that person who first saw the potential and talent in Mack after he and his manager almost gave up sending their demos everywhere, it still doesn't cancel the fact the way Diddy wronged the rapper and the things he had done to other artists who collaborated or worked with Diddy under his label. So it seems like a tough choice for many rappers. On one hand, Diddy offers them an opportunity of a lifetime, and on the other hand, many rappers are faced with multiple unjust acts coming from the infamous producer. And so far, everyone who was slightly inconvenient or tried to leave Bad Boy Records turned up dead, in coma, or behind the bars. And Craig could put an end to Diddy's atrocities since the start because he wasn't the person you could easily deceive and scare. Craig knew his value, and it was obvious after he dropped his first single Flava in Yair with Bad Boy Records, which was nominated for Grammy, and that's quite a huge achievement for any music artist. But even being talented didn't save him from beef with Diddy, and while the music mogul realized that Craig is not the one who could obediently dance to his tune and keep making music for pennies, Diddy gave up on him and found another artist to produce. There were speculations that Puff chose the notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie, as an alternative to Craig, and we all know what had happened to Biggie. And apparently, when your producer creates an atmosphere of rivalry, it doesn't contribute to healthy relationship, and there was even a talk that Craig and Biggie had their own beef. Another reason why Diddy was favoring Biggie all of a sudden were allegations that Craig wasn't down with the music experiments Diddy had been offering him. It seemed like he tried to persuade Mack to try certain styles of music that would in theory help skyrocket his career to the next level. And while two of them had extensive discussions about the direction of Mack's next project, trying to follow the hype of his Grammy-nominated Flava, In Your Ear single, it turned out that Mack wasn't down with Diddy's ideas. And while Diddy wasn't entirely happy with the way Mack handled his propositions, he kept lying to the public that the new music would be released soon. Well, just another lie to cover the nasty state of his label and the mess he tries to sweep under the rug.
Yeah, definitely. We got a new album we're working on him to drop in January. Besides that, we about to just drop our arms.
Diddy most certainly looked like he wanted to be in control of everything, and despite his promises, he already knew that working with Mack would be burdening because he had a strong character and didn't want to bend under Diddy's pressure. Well, we all know how Puff loves to play God sometimes, as he is convinced that lives of many artists depend on him, and probably he was simply messing with Craig, promising things that would never see the light. Mack is not the last artist working with the producer who didn't get enough payment for his effort and was screwed by Diddy big time. Many other rappers after Craig were expressing their opinions and sharing the experience of working with Diddy, and boy, that was far from being joyful. So far, Mack was the closest to really make Diddy pay with his life for everything, but he decided against committing this sin and spent the rest of his life thinking about that moment when he was close to murder his boss. The interview with Mack confessing his desire to shot Diddy surfaced only recently, and many fans believe that it was a burden for the rapper to see that Diddy still keeps wrecking young artists' lives and getting all the benefit from their work. As one user commented, the closer he came to sickness and death, I know, he wished he had done something to Diddy. And another user added, he knew Diddy was going to off him like he has done to so many. The industry is dirty with many players. Diddy is one of them. It's too late to wonder what could have changed if Craig actually gave in to his temptation to get rid of Diddy and save the music industry from this vile person. And as many other celebs confess, Diddy is a lot to deal with, and apparently he somehow feels invincible and thinks he can get away with any criminal activities and demands. And what do you reckon? Was Diddy saved by pure chance from being shot? And how would that impact the show business? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm eager to know what you're thinking. And in the meantime, check my other videos about Diddy. His life is full of shade. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I promise to be back very soon